CompostModern. Some of you might have had an opportunity to come to San Francisco and see it in person, others get to see it online. So the bad news is there's no way we can tell you about this and do it justice in 5 minutes. The good news is we don't have to. It's all online though. Strictly defined, CompostModern is a conference, but we like to look at it as more of a sustainable mind meld. So we're trying to find ways to extend the traditional conference structure into something that might address some of the questions that were coming up yesterday about what's a regional, what's a national conference. CompostModern was conceived as a local event. It's run by the San Francisco chapter, still located in San Francisco for the most part. But as the event has grown, we've graduated into sort of a hybrid beast that is partially produced by the local chapter and partially produced by the CFST. Oh, there you go. 2004, the first year, the most recent event, 2009. Over the years, we've had a lot of interesting people come and talk to us, representing companies that do a lot of interesting things. For this last iteration, the event's grown, but we decided to give it a good evo this time. So CompostModern 9 is happening at a scale that's larger than some of its predecessors. For those of you that pay close attention, Center for Sustainable Design has undergone a couple of changes of late. Laura Short remains our conduit to the national board. Some of you may be accustomed to seeing Mark Alt share the stage with me, my former founding co-chair. We graduated Mark to the advisory board, so he's off to bigger and better things. It's my pleasure to introduce Scotty Brink as the new co-chair of the Center for Sustainable Design. In her former capacity as the sustainability chair of the SF chapter, she's been the driving force for the last 2 iterations of CompostModern. Her and her team developed most of what you're about to see here, but I'd like to acknowledge 2 other folks before I turn over the mic. Don Savoy, our local chapter director, serves as the pivot point for a lot of the administrative detail necessary to get this thing off the ground. And Pam Williams is the architect of our 21st century communications program.
So in addition to the kind of core team of the 4 that Phil just introduced, we had an incredible volunteer team behind us that were in charge of different strategic areas of responsibility. What we really tried to do in assembling this team was bring together people who are not just designers, but actually brand strategists and bloggers and Pam and her team with Jessica and Tom on the San Francisco side, putting together an incredible effort on the PR side. And then even some people from some of our sponsors who worked on our core team to make sure that our webcast efforts were spread across the country. I'm going to just go through this kind of quickly because we have limited time, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about how we work. The team had weekly calls. A bunch of those people on that list that you saw have their own respective teams who they coordinated, so there were a lot more people beyond what you just saw. We used Basecamp as our internal organizing tool. That was kind of our staging area for all the content that we used, internal and outward-facing as well. And we put together a really robust website that had a ton of content on it that made it really easy for us to disseminate information and for people to leverage all the work that we were doing. So here's a quick introduction to the site. There's some features here that are pretty normal, what you expect from a conference. We have our speakers listed, we have their bios up. You can see across the top there that we also had speakers from past years so that we can kind of start to build a legacy around CompostModern. Rather than just doing the site for the 1 year, we really did everything we did this year planning for succession and for long-term use. This is the schedule page. I'll talk a little bit about more later about how we scheduled today. We even had really dramatic things about the venue, how to get there, where it's located, how to get there by bus, and everything else. And then we have, we're archiving all of the presentations on this website as well, so that it becomes a destination for people to go and watch videos, listen to podcasts. These are the presentations from last year. So we're really hoping that this is a very lively destination for people to find out about sustainability. We also use the website as this hub where we collected everything you need to know about sustainability if you're, for example, a journalist. Here's your boilerplate, the background about how the conference started, information about what you're going to do when you get to the event, press contacts, everything like that. And then we also celebrate the writing that's generated about the event. We have incredible writers and bloggers generate all these stories about CompostModern, so we're really celebrating those on the website as well. The other section that is probably the most important is the resource section, where we had downloads for banners and PDFs that downloadable HTML, emails that chapters could use if they wanted to produce events of their own. We had these series of posters that people could download and print out. So it's really this open source brand that we developed. We also had speaker bios and information about the organizers. Again, just this really content-rich area. We also took advantage of the sponsorship area by posting what the sponsorship opportunities are. Again, reaching out to potential people who wanted to partner with us. The PR team did an incredible job creating buzz ahead of the event with calendar listings and banner ads and print advertising and everything else. We also leveraged Facebook as a destination where people could go and get updates. We have a blog that's linked right to the homepage where everything, new stories get added and it shows up on the homepage. I'm going to talk a little bit about the day of. This was our beautiful venue this year, the Herbst Theater, isn't that cute little venue? This is how it looked on the inside. And then we carefully choreographed the arc of the presentations throughout the day. We paired up speakers in such a way that there was a continuity between, from one speaker to the next. We then joined Q&As between two people, which kind of sparked some dialogue. Joel McCower was our MC for the second time in a row. And we did a lot more beyond just the presentations. We had workshops during the lunch hour. Mark and Phil did something from the Center for Sustainable Design. Demetrius, one of our speakers, did this incredible hands-on workshop where people thought about their own scales in terms of how they relate to his presentation. And it was really an incredible day. And then we also had this room called the Green Room, which was coincidentally named the Green Room, where we had vendors and sponsors where they had a really nice presence and people were able to go mingle around and network. But the most important piece is the fact that we were able to produce these webcasts and really, planted the seeds in San Francisco, but there were all these events across the country. We had this webcast seed packet PDF off the homepage that walked other chapters and institutions through how they could produce their own events, leveraging our content. And we kind of put it out there and it took on its own life. So here are the chapters, AIGA chapters, that I am aware of that produced events that have been confirmed to us. There's a few others that I think we're in the planning session. I'd love to hear back from you guys, from those who are maybe not on here, because there were so many that we didn't even necessarily hear about. And then these are some of the schools that had events around our podcast as well. So beyond that, we created a whole bunch of other content, like speaker interviews and presentations. There were students making interviews that day. There was an incredible amount of blog coverage. Alyssa Walker was live blogging from the front row. She created 10 posts for Core 77. And Speak Up had 10 students in the audience who created posts for us. This one woman created this poster that analyzed the day and, kind of all what the speakers presented and how it all tied together. And then we had an incredible amount of press coverage. Before the event, we had coverage afterwards. And there are really big names and big journalists and big outlets. So that a lot of it can be thanks to Pam Williams, who just was an incredible conduit to the press.